Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is KE5STF. I'm David Gilmore from the Idaho Blackfoot Coordinating Council and the United States Central Area Meshcore Leader for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If you are a member of the ERC, if you haven't already, please click the slide link on the ERC homepage to start the slide presentation. This presentation is also streaming live right now on the ERC video YouTube channel. Feel free to copy this link and email or text it to those that you'd like to view this presentation live or in the future. Feel free to do that now. Today we're going to do a brief overview and answer your questions of how a Meshcore off-grid texting network can help you, your family, neighborhood, city, ward, and stake when cell towers go down. We are honored to have Bishop French, Barry Johnson, Holly Stone, Jesse Dixon, and Kim McGarry, who will share how Meshcore is helping them now and in the future. Please go to slide 2. If you like GroupMe or other group text messaging services, you're going to love the off-grid text messaging technology of Meshcore. While GroupMe and all other texting services require internet, satellite, or other cell service, Mesh texting requires no internet, cell, Wi-Fi, or satellite service. If you like privacy, you're going to love the AES 256 encryption with direct and private group messaging in Meshcore. If you're concerned about FRS, GMRS, or 2-meter frequencies being overloaded or congested in an emergency, you're going to love the ability of over 4,000 users on a local Meshcore network at one time. For technical definition, Meshtastic and Meshcore are open source, off-grid, decentralized mesh networking systems that allow users to send encrypted and non-encrypted text messages up to 150 characters, and location data without cellular service, internet, or licenses. Using low-power LoRa radio technology on the 900 MHz band in the US and Canada, these affordable devices, approximately $30 to $100 each, connect to any smartphone, tablet, or computer via Bluetooth. Please go to slide 3. What are the differences between Meshtastic and Meshcore? Meshtastic primarily relies on devices known as nodes to follow messages with a recommended 3 hops, and they do that node to node. Meshcore relies primarily on self-contained, solar-powered repeaters to forward messages with a recommended 32 hops for much greater distances. Because the Meshcore network uses semi-permanent or permanent repeaters, once a path to a node or another repeater is discovered by the network, that path is reused each time, minimizing network traffic. If a path is disrupted, the network searches and discovers a new path in an automatic self-healing manner. Meshcore, like Meshtastic, also has an ad hoc node-to-node message forwarding capability, which may be useful for small mobile groups not needing a repeater. Please go to slide 4. With a substantial number of committed amateur radio operators working with Meshtastic in the Idaho Falls area over the 2 or 3 year period, it was determined that Meshtastic worked well for small mobile groups. However, they realized that Meshtastic network quickly became overwhelmed as the number of users and messages increased, causing the majority of messages not to be delivered. Please go to slide 5. Wanting a more robust, long-term, permanent solution, those same users quickly and easily converted their Meshtastic devices to Meshcore and found great success with reliable, local and long-distance messaging. This exciting news traveled quickly, and within just a few weeks, the users base for the Meshcore grew from 2 users in the Idaho Falls area to over 100 users. Our goal is to extend our network around the Idaho Falls area to connect with existing Meshcore groups in Twin Falls, Boise, Logan, Salt Lake City, and all other coordinating councils in the United States Central area. This way, families and ecclesiastical leaders can communicate in good times and bad with safety and security. By sharing the standards and equipment configurations that we have developed for the Idaho Falls area with surrounding groups, this connectivity will happen automatically as mountaintop repeaters are installed connecting our communities, which will provide secure, encrypted local long-distance communications in an emergency without the need of an amateur radio licensing. At the end of this presentation, we will share links to our tested and recommended devices, alternative devices, standards of operation, training videos, and step-by-step instructions on how to get started with Meshcore. Please go to slide 6. We have found that the previous hesitance from church members and leaders to go through the process and commitment of testing and government licensing for amateur GMRS and commercial radios has almost entirely been removed because Meshcore is simply texting using an inexpensive node connected to their smartphone via Bluetooth. Because of this, we have seen a great acceptance with community, group, and religious leaders to embrace Meshcore as an important emergency communication solution because they are already used to using texting. Meshcore is simply texting without the need of cell phone service. Please go to slide 7. Bishop French will now share his experience using Meshcore with his bishopric, KK7TEA. Please go ahead.
This is KK7TEA, Adam French. I am the bishop of the Shelley 7th Ward in the Shelley, Idaho South Stake in the Idaho Blackfoot Coordinating Council. Please turn to slide 8. When David first approached me about Meshcore, I was on board. I have always felt that communication was so important, especially in desperate times. I have always had a desire to help my family and friends stay in touch in disasters or in other calamities that may occur. I received my amateur radio license a couple of years ago, but thought not everyone has a license, and your run-of-the-mill walkie-talkies aren't the best. I also have some nice JMRS radios, but those are limited as well. You have to be on the radio the same time everyone else is, or you miss the message. And it will be so congested in troubling times. That is why I was on board when David introduced Meshcore. It is a very inexpensive way to stay in contact, even when everyone involved is not on the radio at the same time. Perfect for my family. Please turn to slide number 9. I see the powerful tool it can be in maintaining communication within our bishopric if things turn sour in a hurry. The communication can be exclusive and confidential to just us members of the bishopric. No one to interrupt our communications or pry into our conversations. We have tried the little handheld radios, and they are so hit and miss that it is actually quite frustrating. Meshcore, when set up properly, can function very well and can keep everyone in contact. Please turn to slide number 10. I set up my bishopric on Meshcore a couple of weeks ago. Took some time in a meeting to help everyone download the app and showed them how to Bluetooth connect to their cell phones as an interface. It is pretty simple. I have a couple of guys who are not into all of the technology. In fact, one of them says all the time, "My wife is not here to help me run this phone." However, Meshcore is so simple that even he got it set up pretty quickly. A couple of challenges we encountered. Please turn to slide number 11. Number 1, of course it takes a little getting used to. Getting my bishopric to communicate consistently has been a challenge. I understand it is something we don't do every day. Plus, if you don't connect regularly to the node, it doesn't indicate to you that you have a message. I've had to text everyone to remind them to stay in contact. However, if there were a real disaster, it would be top-of-mind awareness to use the nodes. Number 2, additional training was needed to help them all understand the device itself. Once you use it, it is self-explanatory, but training is crucial to its success. I plan on continuing to train on using the nodes. Number 3, we had some troubles in the beginning with the radios reaching one another. Although we were in close proximity of one another, it wasn't close enough. Thus, we needed to hit repeaters to be in touch. There were 2 nodes close to one another. They could talk to each other. The other 3 could not receive the communications. We found that the antennas we had on the 2 close together did not work very well. Once we changed those out, the communication got much better. So the right equipment is crucial. The WisMesh Pocket V2 node and Gooseneck antenna are what we are now using in our bishopric group. Please turn to slide number 12. After my bishopric and ward council are on board, it is our goal to get the congregation. Regularly. This is KK7TEA back to KE5STF.
Thank you, Bishop French. Please go to slide 13. Meshcore is simply another tool in our emergency communications toolbox. Barry Johnson will now share his experience as a father, grandfather, and stake emergency communications specialist using GMRS, amateur radio, and Meshcore, and why redundancy is good. KG7SMX, Barry, please go ahead.
This is Barry Johnson, amateur radio call sign KG7SMX, GMRS radio call sign WRKG573. I am the Shelley Stake Emergency Communications Specialist in the Blackfoot Coordinating Council. Please turn to slide number 14. I have always been interested in communications. As a young man, about 12 years of age, my dad told me about his experience in the Navy communicating from ship to ship using semaphore flags. We made semaphore flags and practiced sending simple messages. When I was about 14 years old, I became interested in becoming an amateur radio operator. I joined an amateur radio club and spent my lunch hours trying to learn Morse code and the electronics that I needed to pass the licensing and test. Fast forward about 50 years after college and raising a family, I finally got my amateur radio technician's license. I found that the class I had taken helped me pass the test, but still did not know how to operate a radio. Over the last 10 years, I've purchased radios and antennas, and with the help of some newfound friends, learned how to use them. In the process of exploring different radios, I found that they operated on many different radio frequencies and required other types of licensing. Please turn to slide number 15. When I realized that I may never be able to motivate additional family members to study, test, and become amateur radio operators, I turned to GMRS radio, where I could get a license without taking an additional test. As a licensed GMRS radio licensee, all of my family members were covered by my license, and they could all enjoy the privilege of using radios with powers of up to 50 watts, upgrading their antennas, and even using repeaters. I could talk to family and friends all over much of southeast Idaho. With amateur radio and GMRS radio, I could connect to family and friends in a large geographic area, but I was talking to everybody else at the same time that I was talking to my family and friends, and there are a very limited number of GMRS radio channels which could all become very busy in an emergency. Please turn to slide number 16. That wasn't all bad, because being able to talk to so many people without a phone line, without a cell tower, and without the internet meant that we could stay in touch and direct responses to areas of need, which means we had a great emergency communication tool that could benefit everyone as long as a few of us had a radio and an emergency power source. Just recently I was introduced to Meshcore. This use of the radio waves using simple, low-power equipment to create private groups where we could share encrypted text messages that only members of our group could see, or we could join a public channel and enjoy chatting with a larger group, and there is no licensing requirement. Please turn to slide number 17. We do not know for sure how far we can reach with this form of radio, but through cooperation we are rapidly expanding its reach. My personal experiences is that from my home in Shelley, Idaho, I can talk to my family in Idaho Falls and even communicate with a grandson going to school at BYU Idaho in Rexburg, 36 miles away. Please turn to slide number 18. I finally had to ask myself, why so many different forms of communication? Which one is the best form of communication? The answer that came to me is that redundancy is essential. We don't know which method will be the best for the emergency because we really don't know what the emergency will be. If the lights go out, will we use a candle or a flashlight? If the power goes off, will we restore it with a battery, a solar panel, or a generator? If we need help, how will we appeal for assistance? I think we'll be grateful for redundancy. We will be grateful for numerous ways to communicate. This is KG7SMX, back to KE5STF.
Thank you, Barry. Please go to slide 19. Holly will share her thoughts on the importance of building a community on Meshcore before an emergency happens. You'll see in her presentation that the Meshcore community in our area uses this throughout each day to greet each other in the morning, chat about topics of interest, and test nodes and repeaters. Because of daily use, members will have no difficulty using Meshcore in an emergency because it's simply texting without cell service. KF7BRO, please go ahead.
Thanks, David. This is KF7BRO, Holly Stone. I am currently the ERC Idaho Falls North Region Coordinator. Please go to slide 20. For me, one of the most fun features of Meshcore has been helping to create a community of users. And it turns out that it is also one of the most important tasks for the success of Meshcore in southeast Idaho. I view Meshcore first and foremost as a potential very useful emergency communications tool. And as we know, any such tool needs to be learned and practiced to be of any value in an emergency. And in order to practice a communications tool, we need others to participate. This is especially true of Meshcore, which relies on a mesh of repeaters and is all about finding and communicating with others. Please go to slide 21. As we communicate with our Meshcore community, it's easy to demonstrate to newcomers what is possible with these little radios. We hope to spark their interest as they consider their own personal applications. Whether it be family, work, ward, and state communications, or whatever, with both public and private channels, there are so many possible uses for this technology. Please go to slide 22. Another huge advantage of our expanding community is the ability to benefit from everyone's experience and knowledge. Just as with amateur radio, everyone has been so willing to answer questions and recommend equipment and apps to improve our Meshcore skills. Please go to slide 23. In addition, with operators spreading from Pocatello to north of Rexburg and beyond, we are able to meet new friends, offer and receive encouragement, and give feedback about signal reach and message delivery, which has been very useful. It's true, the more Meshcore friends you have, the more likely you are to be able to give and receive help in an emergency. Please go to slide 24. In Meshcore, it really does take a village. This is KF7BRO, back to KE5STF.
Thank you, Holly. Please go to slide 25. Jesse will help us understand the more technical structure of how repeaters, observers, and the MeshMapper app are used to build a strong Meshcore network. KC7SIK, please go ahead.
This is KC7SIK, Jesse Dixon, and the Idaho Commandment Coordinating Council. Please turn to slide 26. Core repeaters, the backbone. Think of Meshcore repeaters as your digital mountaintop digipeater. These are low power up to 1 watt, typically solar powered nodes that are placed on high ground. They use a smart routing feature or system that can handle up to 32 hops. They use controlled plugging and routing to do traffic routing. Because the repeaters are fixed, the path your message takes is predictable and stable. They only repeat what is necessary, helping emergency traffic get through even when the network grows large. And the repeaters use cryptographic public key identities, and devices are identified on the maps by the first 2 to 6 digits of the repeater's randomly generated public key. That helps make your nodes unique on the network. On your Meshcore app, it will show a more friendly name that is chosen by the repeater owner, along with a portion of the key. We have over 75 nodes or repeaters in eastern Idaho that have been online since January between Sugar City and Blackfoot, as well as the few in Pocatello. Please turn to slide 27. For observers, the eyes of the network. To help us with the deployment of the Meshcore network, we've also added a number of Meshcore observers. The observers are interconnected Meshcore nodes that report the packets that they hear to the WisMesh.net observer website. And with this, we can analyze the network reliability and help us identify potential coverage issues. It also gives the internet users a window into the local unencrypted Meshcore traffic. We currently have 11 observers in eastern Idaho, 3 in Idaho Falls, 2 in Shelley, 2 in Rexford, 1 in Groveland, 1 in Firth, 1 in Sugar City, and 1 in Pocatello. And you can view our area traffic at analyzer.letsmesh.net. Some other Meshcore repeaters and room server compatible devices have Wi-Fi capability, and we can use as a standalone observer device. Companion nodes with USB capability can also be used with the help of a computer or Raspberry Pi. Please turn to slide 28. MeshMapper, visualizing the rail coverage. MeshMapper is a tool that we use for helping provide real-time mapping of the network coverage and repeater performance. It is fed from a combination of users war driving, using a local area, or war driving their local area and traffic from observers into the WisMesh site. The term war driving originally came from the early days of Wi-Fi, where people would map out Wi-Fi networks and share them online so people could find places to go to get internet access. Please turn to slide 29. Context of Meshcore war driving, we use a phone and a Meshcore node to map out where the network is reachable, where a repeater is providing the best coverage, and where are the dead zones. And you can find out more on how to get help us out with mapping the network by going to wiki.meshmapper.net. Please turn to slide 30. Online maps are divided into IATA zones, similar to what you're kind of based on your nearest major airport. And we have 2 areas in eastern Idaho, the Idaho Falls, Rexburg areas, and then the Pocatello and Chubbuck areas. You can see our Idaho map at IDA.meshmapper.net, or you can see the Pocatello map at EIH.meshmapper.net. And you can also download the MeshMapper app for your device from your app store. And if you're the competitive side, by contributing to the MeshMap, you can earn points to get your name on the MeshMapper leaderboard. This is KC7SIK, back to K5STF.
Thank you, Jesse. Please go to slide 31. The great thing about Meshcore is you cannot have too many repeaters or observers, but you can have too few. We are very grateful to all the individuals, businesses, groups, and community leaders who have contributed funds, locations, repeaters, and observers to build a reliable emergency communications network in the Idaho Falls area. We are actively looking for more contributors. If you'd like to contribute, please contact me, David Gilmore, KE5STF, for the Idaho Falls area, or the Meshcore leader in your area. Please go to slide 32. One of the key repeaters in the Meshcore network here in Shelley is a DIY build that Kim McGarry donated. For all those who like to tinker, Kim will share the fun process of building nodes and repeaters. KJ7MED, please go ahead.
This is KJ7MED, Kim McGarry in the Idaho Shelley State from the Blackfoot Coordinating Council. Please go to slide 33. From Tinker Toys and erector sets to radio antennas and mesh nodes, I've always been a maker at heart. I like the challenges. Some months ago, I called a friend, KB7ITU, for his opinion on Meshtastic. He had been given a node by a friend, and he was impressed with the range of the device. It was a whiz block unit. So I went to Amazon to find one. The basic starter kit was available, and the journey began. Later, I discovered the Rockland and the Altbox website. I found a source for files to 3D print a case at the altabox.com. The starter kit definitely needs an enclosure. A battery was needed next to make it mobile. After much frustration with Meshtastic, KE5STF got me changed over to Meshcore. This is more practical for the uses we wanted. Please go to slide 34. Someone mentioned a solar repeater node, and I thought to myself, let's make one. The basic kit comes with excellent information to ensure that the battery and solar panel wiring has the correct polarity to prevent damage to the device. With trial and error, I discovered not all batteries have the correct plug size and polarity. Connectors with the correct size, shape, and wires are available, but may require basic soldering skills to connect solar panels and batteries to the board. A repeater really needs a better antenna, a solar panel, and a watertight enclosure. The parts list grew and changed as the device dimensions and specifications were taken into consideration. Rockland now has everything you need to assemble a solar repeater. Their components have the correct connectors and wires attached, so soldering is not required. Please go to slide 35. The supplies needed to assemble the components in the enclosure may include a hot glue gun to attach the solar panel, a step drill bit to smoothly cut the correct size hole for the antenna attachment, and an external waterproof USB port can similarly be installed. Double-sided tape can be used to stabilize the internal components. For a repeater, the largest battery and solar panel that are compatible and affordable would be the most desirable, especially if foul weather is taken into consideration. I have provided a parts list for both Rockland and Amazon to start on a DIY node. Please go to slide 36. For those who want a pre-assembled companion node, I suggest the rack wireless WisMesh Pocket V2, as mentioned earlier. GPS and telemetry modules are available as add-ons. And as a lightweight everyday carry, the rack wireless WisMesh tag might also be considered. This is KJ7MED, back to KE5STF.
Thank you, Kim. This is KE5STF. David, please go to slide 37. Now that you know a little more about Meshcore, if you'd like to look into adding it as one of your tools in your emergency communications toolbox, we've made it easy to get started. You really just need two things: a companion node and possibly a repeater. Once you have your node and repeater, watch the videos listed on this slide by going to the Meshcore Made Easy playlist on the LDS Prepper YouTube channel. If you are a member of the ERC Connect website through your ward or stake, please review the recommended standards and configuration settings found in the standards sections for setting up your node and repeater. Of course, you'll want to be able to communicate with your family, neighbors, and church leaders, so encourage them to get started with Meshcore too. Recommending this video would be a good way to introduce them to Meshcore. Please go to slide 38. While variety is the spice of life, not all LoRa nodes or repeaters are of the same quality. Personally, I look for items that I can depend on in an emergency. For example, a well-built unit and one that has a long-lasting battery. After spending over $1,200 of my own money buying and testing devices and antennas, I have narrowed down the ones that have shown to be the most reliable, best constructed, best performance, and with best customer service. While there are several alternatives, these are my personal recommendations and the ones that I use. Links to my recommended devices are on this slide and in the description below this video on the YouTube channel. Alternative devices, along with my recommendations, are also listed in the Meshcore section of the ERC Connect website. Please go to slide 39. Well, we've covered a lot of material this evening. I'm sure there are questions. Feel free to direct your questions to any of the presenters or me. We'll be taking questions from the YouTube live stream chat and on amateur radio. If you're on the radio, please give your call sign and wait to be recognized. While we answer questions, feel free to go to slide 40 to review the benefits of Meshcore. Please proceed with your questions.
David, KB7 ITU break.
Go ahead, ITU.
Please stand by for W7KEA on Echolink. If W7KEA, if you're there, go ahead.
This is W7KEA. My question is, if we did a group in a network up here in Island Park, there's quite a distance between Pine Haven and the communities down there in the valley. Is there a chance we would be able to connect with you folks down there, or would that be impossible? Over.
Yes, thank you for your question. Personally, with the capability of Meshcore, I think that we'll be able to connect from the Canadian border to the Mexican border, and how long that takes will depend on how many people contribute to the network. But yes, there will be no issue connecting from Idaho Falls up to north where you are. I believe you're probably about 45 miles or more north of Idaho Falls. I know that Steve, ITU, will be putting a Meshcore repeater up on Relay Ridge when the snow melts, and we've added one to the Manan Butte, which is now carrying a lot of traffic. And we hope to get more repeaters down south into Pocatello, which will allow us to connect to our communities to the south and the west of us. So please jump in and join the community. Encourage others to add to the community, and we are looking for more repeaters and locations between your location and ours. But connecting to you is just a matter of time. We're going to take some questions now from the YouTube live chat. Bruce asks, are you suggesting this is a replacement for amateur radio or a supplement to it? Great question, and he has a follow-up question. Do you consider this protocol superior to WinLink? We're not suggesting this is a one and only solution. We're just adding more tools to our emergency communications tool belt, and we just found that this has great acceptance with the majority of church members and church leaders, because it's just texting, and everybody understands texting. You just take an inexpensive device, you connect it via Bluetooth to your phone, and you're up and running. It's that simple. No licensing, no testing, no expensive equipment to buy. And is this protocol better than WinLink? Again, WinLink is another tool in the toolbox, and we want to use all the tools that we find that are going to be useful in an emergency. Thank you for those questions, Bruce. Back to questions on the radio.
N7 MSD.
Bravo Mike Tango.
I believe that was MSD. Go ahead.
N7 MSD. This is Maryland. We have a very spread out stake, but I was hoping to put a repeater up in Robert's area, but I need to know, everything looks like it was handheld. Are the repeaters able to go up on a tower so they can get out of a hole?
Yes, thank you for your question. So my definition of a repeater, our standard for a repeater, is a self-contained solar cell with battery and a 5.8 dBi antenna that's 30 feet above the ground. That combination is listed in my recommended devices underneath the video in the description on the YouTube channel and in the recommended devices on the ERC Connect website. The nodes are handheld devices, but the repeaters are not. They're semi-permanent or permanent standalone devices with solar panels, batteries, and a 5.8 dBi antenna. I can guarantee you that the 5.8 dBi antenna that I got from Rockland is significantly superior than the 5.8 dBi antenna that I bought from Amazon. Not even close. The higher you can get, the better. What I did here in my area is I got a repeater, put it on my house. I simply took a 10-foot top rail from a chain link fence and took two hose clamps and hose clamped it to an exhaust pipe on my roof with the repeater and the antenna on top, and drove around testing to see what areas I could get reception. That's where the WAR driving comes in handy. And then you'll be able to find where you can and cannot get reception for your ward and your stake. So you'll know where to put another repeater. And what we have found is that the repeaters are so inexpensive that people just love having them on their house because it makes it convenient that they can get a sure connection to the network. In my home, I have the WisMesh mini repeater, and then I carry on my person the tag device, because I just keep it in my pocket, and I can be at least anywhere between my house and 2 miles away and still get connectivity to my repeater. So the best way to find out where you need repeaters is put one up and drive around your ward and your stake and find out where you need to add additional repeaters. Any follow-up question?
No, that took care of it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
87 ITU.
Go ahead, ITU.
And so just a comment for the question on YouTube, real quick, and then I'll turn it back. But the Meshcore Meshtastic is texting only. You're limited to a certain number of text characters that you can send at any given time. So it does not replace WinLink or some of the other digital modes that will carry forms and mailboxes and that kind of thing in bulk message traffic. So it's not made to take the place of. It's made to enhance. So thanks, David. KB7ITU.
Comment?
Go ahead, Steve.
C7IHV. I just want to make it real clear that this is an FM device. It's line of sight. And for warts, stakes, things like that, local stuff, this tool can be very useful. But I also want to make it very clear, if you want to talk to the county during an emergency or get information from the county currently, or if you want to talk to your Area 70, anything that's going on in Salt Lake, Meshcore is not going to be tied into those individuals in the foreseeable future. This is from a stake to the Welfare and Self-Reliance Manager and the Area 70 on to Salt Lake to the Area Presidency is all going to be other than this. It'll either be amateur radio, shares, or some other technology that we're working with. And so this is awesome for commercial or for local, but it's not to solve all to replace amateur radio or we're not an amateur radio club. We're an emergency communications organization, and this is just a tool in our toolbox, and we shouldn't confuse it with other tools. This is KC7IHV.
Thank you, Steve. And as we mentioned, one device isn't better than another. You just need to find the tool that you need to communicate with the people that you need to talk to. We'll get back to some more questions on the radio. A couple questions here on YouTube. If you have mountaintop repeaters, how far can a repeater message? How far can a repeater send a message? I don't know what the exact distance is, but we know that we're able to send messages from Germany to the UK, from one repeater to the next repeater. Those were both mountaintop repeaters over the ocean, and that was a 200-mile transmission. There is a group in the Northwest, Pacific Northwest. They are communicating from Vancouver, Canada, down into Portland, Oregon, and they did those private connections with 12 repeaters. So distance varies. If you're looking at a home top repeater, you're probably looking at somewhere between 2 to 5 miles. As you saw in the slides earlier, we have one repeater here on Manan Butte that is 30 miles. We're getting other repeaters that are 16 miles and so forth. So height is might, and the right quality antenna makes a significant difference. There was another question that came in a little bit early, but I didn't catch the call sign. If you'll come back again, please.
November 7, Bravo Mike Tango.
Go ahead, Mike Tango.
Yeah, November 7, Bravo Mike Tango. I saw you can get 40 private groups. Is that a total of 40 groups for the entire network, or can each individual set up their own groups?
Thank you. Excellent question. Every person can have their own 40 groups. So I could have 40 completely different groups on my device than what you have in your device. So there's no limit to the network. It's per device or per companion node. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. That's great news. November 7, Bravo Mike Tango.
Okay, here's another question from Anthony. Put one companion on your car, carry one, and have one at home. So I do have a companion node in my car with a magnetic antenna, and that works well for me. I do have a repeater at home, and I keep my companion node, the WisMesh tag, in my pocket. Other questions?
November
Tango.
Juliet Victor Tango, go ahead.
One of the things the Ryrie State struggles with is communications into the Swan Valley area. Could this be used for that?
Yes, as mentioned by Steve, it's a radio. A cell phone is a radio. Believe it or not, and we think of it as a cell phone, but it's line of sight. In the little town that I live in, Shelley, there are 24 cell towers around and in the little town. So this is just like any other communication device that's line of sight that doesn't use satellites or bounce off the ionosphere. So the way to find out is to put up a repeater and just drive around and see if you can communicate if you can get a message, basically send a message and get a confirmation that it hit the repeater. So we have found that with very condensed ward boundaries, congregations, that one repeater works great. With more spread out areas, with congregations, we need multiple repeaters. So it's just a matter of testing, just like with when I started testing 2 meters and I started testing GMRS, I was driving around and finding out what worked. Any other questions?
Well, Swan Valley's kind of an isolated valley that's separated from the rest of us down here. How do we get up over the hump to them?
Yes, so we have a generous contributor that has hundreds of communications towers here in the eastern Idaho, down through central, south, and western Idaho, who's graciously allowed us to put any repeaters on their towers. So if we just need to identify who wants a repeater, and they'll give us access to the towers and get those repeaters up there. So there's no question that we can connect to Swan Valley using the existing towers that have been made available to us. Other questions?
Kilo India 7, Charlie Alpha Sierra.
Charlie Alpha Sierra, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the maximum hops. In Meshtastic it was 7. On your thing here it's saying up to 64, but I'm not seeing where to change that. Is there a place on does that need to be changed on the repeater? Does that need to be changed on the companion device? Where do you see where those hops are at?
I don't want to get too technical, but you can get into the bytes, and that's where you set. You set it to 2 bytes, and then that will set it to 32 hops. So when you set up a new repeater and you're using the 1.141 firmware, it's one of the options in there. It's I just set up a couple of repeaters today. It's under expanded options or something like that. If you have older firmware, you'll need to flash some new firmware on there.
All right, thanks for letting me know that.
Other questions? TGD, go ahead.
Very nicely done presentation by everybody involved. Just a comment on the technical side of things. So this is using the industrial, scientific, medical band. So the power is limited to 1 watt transmitter output power. Strictly speaking, you're supposed to have 4 dBi antenna limit, but everybody's using a little higher than that. But the power is limited to 1 watt. But because it's effectively a digital transmission, so the bandwidth is much narrower than voice, we get a much longer distance than if it were voice. I noticed that there are a number of repeaters that are waterproof. You probably have one in your list, but there are some that are all self-enclosed. So I'm going to try one and let everybody know how it goes. Anyway, I'm super excited about it. I'm going to add this to our Ward Emergency Preparedness Plan. This is KF7 TGD.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any other questions?
KM4 QAA.
QAA, go ahead, Paul.
Yes, I'd like to suggest that we use the Meshcore in concert with our other radio systems if the power's been off for several days and the batteries to run our radios are running low, we can send messages of times and frequencies and stuff to turn on the radios, send those messages via Meshcore, and that way people can manage their battery power. Also, if we're doing a voice radio net, if we have private information, financial or medical or whatever, we can say, oh, I'll send you a message on Meshcore, and that will have that data all set up and private. Back to you, David.
Thank you. Answering some questions here on the YouTube channel. How well will the mountaintop repeaters weather the winter, and will they and who will maintain them? And someone mentioned that they have a node on the Kenport mountaintop for over a year and it's still ticking. In my recommended devices, there is what I call a rural or residential urban repeater. It's called the WisMesh Mini. And then there is one that's about $300 that has a 10-watt solar panel versus a 5-watt, has a larger battery, 5,200 milliamps versus 3,200 milliamps, and has a battery heater in it. And it's made for extreme weather conditions. And those are the ones that I recommend for mountaintops. You put them up, and someone owns it. Whoever's going to, someone will determine who's going to maintain it. Someone may donate it, like the city may donate it, but I may maintain it. Or you may donate it and you may maintain it. But, that's between whoever it owns the device and, the property that they're putting it on. So there is a very reliable, extreme conditions repeater available. That being said, we have tested all of the units that we have tested in the $100 range here all the way through winter, where we had extensive many days or weeks of complete overcast. None of those batteries went down below 85% with just a 5-watt solar panel and 3,200 milliamp batteries. So get the repeater that you need for your conditions. The mini repeater is what I recommend for urban setups.
This is Whiskey 0, Lima Foxtrot Zulu.
Go ahead, Zulu.
Hey, David, I was also that question leads to a good thing that you might want to talk about that with the app and your repeater being somewhere. As long as you can reach it through the app, you can check the status of it, the battery life, all that good stuff. You're not having to wait for it to completely go down. You can check it remotely. I'm just going to suggest talking a little bit maybe about the app and being able to remotely connect to the repeater to be able to keep the status check on it. Go ahead, back to you.
Thank you for bringing that up. I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but that's a great comment. The nice thing about the repeaters is that you can access them through your own companion node. For example, we have a repeater here that's up on Iona Hill, and the owner, Justin, needed to adjust the clock on it, and he was at his home, and with his little handheld device, went across 2 repeaters, connected to that repeater, and was able to adjust synchronize the clock on it. So there's no climbing up and down towers once you have a repeater up. It's done over the air, and you can even update the firmware over the air. That makes it very convenient. Here's a question from YouTube. If I set up a repeater on private land with permission, how often do I let them know that I've got to access that for update or servicing, just to give them some expectations? Maybe, I don't know, once a year, twice a year. If there's a significant firmware update, that would be the only time that you would need to access that repeater. Other than that, it's self-contained, no need to get up and down a tower. Another question here from John Jones is, how do I get access to the ERC Connect? So you get access to the ERCconnect.org website through your ward or stake or local ERC representative through the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Other questions on the radio?
Yeah, I live in Illinois.
Speak much slower and go ahead and ask your question.
This is Kilo India 7, November Oscar X-ray. Question is, if our ward and state do not have emergency communications people, how do we get linked in with the ERC Connect site?
I'll turn that question over to Steve Taylor. Go ahead, Steve.
This is KC7IHV. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes, so his question was, if he does not have a ward or stake ERC representative, how does he get access to the ERCconnect.org? I don't know if that's a you question or a Kevin question.
Are you an amateur radio operator?
I am.
Give me a call. My number is area code 208-520-1727.
Thank you so much. KI7NOX, back to that.
Thank you. So a couple more questions here from YouTube. Thank you for the list of components. Do you have a video that shows how to assemble all the parts and how to use it? I have videos on my LDS Prepper YouTube channel. You just go to just search for LDS Prepper on the YouTube, or you can just go to ldsprepper.com, which takes you to my YouTube channel. Go to the playlist called Meshcore Made Easy, and I have videos showing you how to program and set up your devices. I'm not a tinkerer. I don't build, so I don't have any devices on assembly. There are some out on YouTube, and maybe some of those who are listening to this presentation can video them assembling something, but each build is going to be different. And Kim has mentioned in his presentation that there are instructions on doing DIY builds, but it depends whether you're going to print your own case, which components you're going to be using, and so you just would need to find what kind of node you want to make, and then build it that way. We find that the cost of building it is somewhat either a few dollars less or a few dollars more than buying a pre-assembled device, and so it's up to you. If you enjoy tinkering, go ahead and do that. But I don't have any videos personally on building a device. If anybody wants to contribute those, please call me at area code 208-360-5384, and we can get together and make that happen. Another question is, so a Meshtastic device can be used with Meshcore? The answer is yes. All you need to do is follow the instructions on the videos listed in the slides, or you just go to my playlist, LDS Prepper on YouTube, and click on the video on how to, the step-by-step flashing and configuring of a node. And that will walk you through how to turn any Meshtastic device into a Meshcore device. That's one reason why we grew so fast here in Idaho Falls, because we literally had over 100 people with Meshtastic devices that they weren't using them, and in 5 minutes they were now a Meshcore device. It didn't cost me anything to make that change. Any other questions on the radio? Okay, thank you very much. We are out of time. I'm sorry we can't answer all the questions here. I appreciate you joining us. As our network grows and we connect our communities, it would be great if you're a Meshcore leader in your area, please reach out to me so we can add you to our development team here for the ERC Connect community. You can reach me with my contact information on one of the slides. Thank you everyone for attending. If you have any other questions, again, just give me a call with my contact information on the slides, or reach out to the Meshcore community on discord.com, or go to ercconnect.org. This is KE5STF, back to net control.